Sean Diddy Combs walked into court knowing his future would be decided by a single man, Judge Arun Subramanian. For months, fans and critics alike speculated whether the hip-hop mogul would skate by with a slap on the wrist, or finally face the kind of consequences rarely seen at his level of fame. Now the verdict is in, and it's more than what Diddy bargained for. The courtroom was packed. Lawyers shuffled papers, reporters scribbled notes, and survivors who had testified against Diddy sat silently in the front row. When the gavel finally dropped, the room froze. Judge Subramanian delivered the sentence: 50 months in federal prison, a little over 4 years. Diddy would also have to pay a $500,000 fine, though no restitution was ordered. The math was brutal. His legal team begged for 14 months, prosecutors demanded 11 years, and the judge cut straight down the middle. The decision stunned even the most seasoned courtroom observers. But it wasn't just the numbers that captured attention. It was the judge's words. Before stepping away from the bench, Judge Subramanian turned directly to Cassie Ventura and the other women who had testified. His voice was measured but firm. To Ms. Ventura and the other brave survivors that came forward, I want to say first, we heard you. For many in the room, that single sentence carried more weight than the prison term itself. After years of whispers, headlines, and accusations, the survivors finally heard a federal judge validate their stories. The courtroom went silent. The sentencing hearing stretched for hours, and emotions ran high from the very start. Prosecutors came out swinging, blasting Diddy for his conduct leading up to the trial. They pointed to his plans for a speaking engagement in Miami, scheduled just days after sentencing, as a proof of arrogance, as if Diddy believed he could charm his way past prison walls. They described his actions as manipulative, even tone-deaf, and urged the judge not to be swayed by the celebrity aura that had shielded him for so long. Diddy's defense, on the other hand, worked overtime to soften the image. His attorneys leaned on emotion, character witnesses, and even played a video of Diddy with his children. The clip was meant to show him as a family man, someone more than just the headlines of violence and lawsuits. His lawyers painted him as a devoted father, a cultural icon, and a man who had already paid a heavy price in reputation and freedom. But whether the strategy worked was another question entirely. Then, in a moment that had everyone holding their breath, Diddy himself stood up to address the court. Gone was the flashy mogul persona. He spoke quietly, his voice lower than most had ever heard. He apologized directly to Cassie Ventura, the ex whose lawsuit had reopened years of speculation and controversy. "I'm sorry," he said, the words hanging heavy in the air. But reactions were split. Some in the courtroom saw genuine remorse. Others whispered it was just another strategic play, too little and far too late. Online, fans echoed the same debate. Was this a man finally facing the truth, or just one more performance in a long career built on controlling the narrative? Beyond the headlines and the spectacle, there's also the question of where Diddy will serve his time. Prison consultant Sam Mangal, a man who knows the system firsthand, suggested that Diddy will likely adapt just fine. According to Mangal, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Diddy has already been held, is far tougher than the minimum security facility where he'll serve the bulk of his sentence. To Diddy's supporters, this means he might ride out the time without much trouble. But to critics, that's exactly the problem. They fear he'll continue to leverage his wealth and influence, even from behind bars. Still, the sentence won't feel short to Diddy himself. He's already been locked up since September 2024, giving him more than a year of time served. That credit will count toward the total, but it still leaves him with years to go before freedom. For someone who built an empire on being everywhere at once, from fashion runways to recording studios to red carpets, 4 years of silence could feel like an eternity. The ripple effects are already hitting. Bad Boy Records, once the crown jewel of his empire, faces uncertainty. Business ventures and brand partnerships that once leaned on his image of invincibility are now distancing themselves. Sponsors are quiet, collaborators are hesitant. Some insiders say his empire could collapse in his absence. Others believe Diddy will still find ways to pull strings from inside prison, keeping deals alive through proxies and loyal associates. The truth is, no one knows whether his empire will survive or crumble under the weight of scandal. But the story isn't just about Diddy. It's about what this moment represents. For decades, powerful men in music and Hollywood seemed untouchable, shielded by fame, money, and influence. This sentencing marked a rare moment when the system pushed back. Survivors who once felt voiceless heard their pain echoed in a federal courtroom. And that matters. It matters for the industry, for fans, and for every young artist watching closely to see if the rules are finally changing. Public reaction is predictably divided. Online, hashtags trended within minutes of the sentencing. Some fans cried foul, insisting the sentence was excessive, pointing to his charitable work, his role as a father, and his contributions to music. Others cheered, calling it overdue justice, a long-awaited reckoning for someone they believe abused his power for far too long. The split is sharp, the debate's heated, and the internet is lit up with speculation about what comes next. What's clear is this: the story isn't over. 4 years in prison may sound like a long time, but for the survivors who testified, healing will take much longer. For Diddy, rebuilding his image, if that's even possible, will take even more. And for the culture, this case will be remembered not just for the sentence, but for the statement it made. No one is too big to fall. So now the question is yours. Was 50 months too harsh, too lenient, or exactly what justice demanded? Will Diddy emerge from prison a changed man, or will this simply be another chapter in a legacy already stained by controversy? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is far from over. And if you want to stay locked in as the story unfolds, make sure you hit subscribe. The next chapter is already writing itself.